Morning, everybody. Get my voice working. I didn't warm it up. It's about 6 o'clock, September the 21st on a Sunday morning at, like I said, around 6. It's Mountain View, our little usual stroll up the road here. We walk up this road by the elementary school and usually stop here. Sometimes we continue if we feel like it is dry or something. We'll walk up the mountain on the gravel and dirt trails, but usually we stop up there where the pavement ends and turn around and head back towards town. So today's at least the first video, if we make a couple, will be mixed topics here in the Philippines and Sabang news, and I think this applies to other parts of the Philippines, different things I'll say. So I'll start off by saying mostly my humble opinion, my 3 years there in the Philippines, I think the crime and different things that go on, compared to America or something, seems to be far less. Of course, we don't have the, like the newspaper and all the different avenues to spread the news so quickly. It's like where I grew up in Dayton, Ohio area, there was like 3 or 4 news stations, and you watch them throughout the day, and there's always different news on there about usually something negative or something. So here, not so much, and I don't think as much happens. So, which leads me into some of the topics. Well, one, we're walking up this road. So if you're in Sabang and you're missing some money, which is probably everybody, ha ha ha. But we found some money on this road. So if the owner can describe the amount and what it was in, we would be happy to give it back to them. So somebody riding or walking up this road by the elementary school, up the mountain to the some native homes up in there. So the water stations are up the lane here and stuff up the mountain. So it was a fair amount for somebody that's living here. So we found it a couple days ago and trying to locate the owner. So somebody that's came up this road walking or on a motorbike or something has dropped some money. So get with us and describe what it was, and if you meet the description, I'll be happy to give it back to the rightful owner. All right, that's one thing. So lost money here in Sabang on this particular road here. So anybody that knows Sabang and the elementary school will know. Or 2, we got some different things going on. I was talking to another gentleman, and he said he had one day I walked by and I said, what happened to your mirror? And he goes, oh, stolen. And I won't mention any names, but it was kind of funny because he's a local security guard here, in a sense that it's not funny, but it's funny that he's in security, and even he's not immune to that. So a couple days go by and I said, oh, I thought he took off his other mirror, to protect it. He goes, no. Next day or 2 days later, they stole his other mirror. So that type of stuff goes on here and, throughout the Philippines. Some of it's kind of petty overall, because in America, the big news is usually somebody's shot somebody and killed somebody. That's probably just as common as, somebody stealing something, which is, I've rarely heard anything on that here. I've heard stories, 3 or 4 years ago, somebody was killed or something, but it's either greatly kept a secret or just not happening. I think it's maybe a little bit of a mix of both. And then I was talking to another lady here, and she was telling me there's like 4 boys broke into a expat or tourist home and place and stole their phone and a ring, some jewelry or something, and then sold. The police caught them, so, but they were underage, so apparently, 14, 15, 16 or something. So that was good and bad. Bad that happened, and good that they caught them. I think they said they sold the ring for 35,000 peso in another nearby island, a small island or something, and they were foolish enough to take the cell phone back to a local store and, so trying to do something with that. But yeah, there's hard times and foolish people, and sometimes it's just bad people get into different things here. So, but that's some of the news. I think it's important to be talked about all kinds of things. So, but I think it's relatively low and here in the Philippines, and I don't think it's a thing to. I think it's a thing to be aware of, but not overly be, afraid. Oh, I'm going to get, killed, robbed, or mugged, or something like that, because I for sure felt a lot less safe in my own country, and I lived in a little small town just like Sabang. So, but the good news is people's getting ready for the upcoming tourist season, which is slowly starting up here in October and ramps up to the peak of probably February. So people's excited. They're cleaning the town and fixing their boats and fixing their shops, and everything's being fixed up and cleaned up and made nice, so they're ready. So hopefully nothing happens with like a typhoon or something, because that's the other news. There's a big typhoon today off the coast of Luzon. So, and they're like a big bully. They go where they want to go, typically wherever the currents steer them. So I said, they can't come here, right? And because it's, kind of what I call up north. And they said, no, they have dived to the south and could hit. So who knows? I think it's going to go up north towards Taiwan and Japan or something like that. So here comes the local runner. They're getting ready to have a race here, I think sometime in October this month or something. Morning. So, but there's always a little something going on here. So it's quite nice, and I enjoy it. So it feels like home. It's a small, tight-knit community here in Sabang, and really any of the barangays. So a lot of this news, I think, and information applies throughout the Philippines, although I think in each island and each city could be a little bit different, but much the same. So 4 points here is adding a couple additions, so there actually be probably 50% bigger, or have more, 25, 50% bigger or something. So not sure exactly what they're doing, but I've been watching and making some videos about the progress of there are a couple things they're building on each side of the resort. So not exactly sure what they're doing with that, but when I find out, I'll let you know. But I suppose it looks like they're getting ready for the upcoming season, which, like I said, starts to wind up here in October, then peaks and goes through the rest of the year. But yeah, the main tourist seasons are probably big December, January, and February, and then starts to ramp down. Apparently it's quite dramatic, because I didn't come till March, so I've not seen a peak tourist season. And apparently November and December the waves get quite big, offshore, so that affects some activities potentially. The boat's going to the underground river or something, at least for them couple months. So, but there's a picture of the mountain and the clouds, which are quite common, not always around them, but quite often, I'd say 70, 60, 70% of the time, at least 50%. There's some gas prices here. So it runs about usually 20 pesos higher than in the big city, Port-au-Prince, which is one of the biggest city, I think, in the Palawan. So while we have 75, 77. So when I first come, it was down in the 60s, 67, 68. So it's come up about 10, almost 10 pesos per liter. And then when I went to Port-au-Prince at that same time, it was down to about 50 peso. So I should stand to reason that it's at about 55, 58 peso probably in the city. So there's one of the local restaurants that of many I would recommend. Other big thing to me, I hiked this road and been here 7 months and see this man and woman walk in and they go, he's German, he owns Bamboo, which I've been up to, which sits in this little square off to the left, up the side of the mountain. And so one day we're walking, I said, well, let's go up to Bamboo. Recently, we've been up there and had lunch. And so we walk up to the Bamboo, which is about 1 kilometer or something up here on the left, the main entrance to it. And so we walk up there and start talking to a worker up there. And we said, is there any trails or pond or anything neat to see? And he says, yes. And he says, you can take the trail over to the Dalian Resort, where I know, which is along the beach. So we said, sure, it sounds great. So I'm thinking, let's go hike for about a half hour. So within about 5 minutes or less, we come by some water towers and this big, beautiful house. And I said, I think this is the one we see by the road that we hike on. And surely it was enough. It was. And so we happened to talk to the owners there, and the German man. He's got a wild, fantastic story to tell. So he come here 30-ish some years ago, and before this was paved, this road in Sabang was a tourist area. There was nothing on the beach, just wild. And he come from Germany with a backpack and not much else, and acquired this land. And I think he said he has 12 hectares up there, which is about 20-something acres back in America. And he built a beautiful 12-hectare resort. So it's a must see. I've been saying about 4 Points and Dalian is the two big boys, but this is pretty nice place, and I would highly recommend at least going up there and having some lunch and checking it out. And you quite likely, if you can get to the big house or something, you might like to stay there. It's quite unique for the Philippines, especially this area. It's one of the biggest houses that I've seen, and he rents rooms out of that and has a lot of little places to stay as well. So actually his lot comes down to this creek down that road, so that's where the main entrance is, up here on the left pretty soon. And then you can hike over up the mountain a little bit and then down the other side, and you come out to the road back here we just passed. So that was quite a treat, as usual, Philippine style. He said, any day you want, come on up and hike anytime you want and sit down and enjoy. And so, which I said back in America, I'm not used to that type of friendliness, and usually things are fenced off, and you know, somebody's what you wouldn't be allowed to do that type of stuff. But I visited 2 or 3 days now, I think, in a row up there. So try to keep the camera up. There's another mountain range. You can see the misty, foggy clouds around the top, and same over here. Chance of rain today as usual, so they're saying 50-60%. So that means it may rain, it may not, but you're likely to get a little something. So that's some of the miscellaneous updates and things I got to say. So Philippines is pretty safe, but things do happen here. If you're missing some money and lost it on that road in Sabang to the school, it's a little side road, so not many people, different people go up there, probably 100 or less. So if you've ridden a motorbike and lost some money, or walked and lost your money, let me know and describe all the things. And if you meet the description, I'll be happy to return it to the rightful owner. There's a local person out walking, training. So that's where we're going, up the road a little bit until I get tired, or I think it's going to rain. So I think we're good for a couple hours here. So thanks for watching, everybody. That's the local news in the Philippines, and locally in Sabang here, Palawan, Philippines. That's the latest things that I've heard the past week. There may be a few additional that I've forgotten, but we're just keeping it here. And so thanks for watching, and this just a mixed bag. Was no particular topic, just a little bit of a little bit of everything. The news and in the Sabang, and it could transfer over to many different islands and places in the Philippines. That's it. Thanks for watching. Beautiful day. The usual, probably about 80 degrees maybe. Humid and very nice. Everybody's out in their shorts day and night here, so hopefully the rain doesn't come down too hard when we get home. A little dry, although it doesn't really bother me too much. You get wet, it's warm. So all right, we'll leave you on